Hi, I'm Heather Carroll and I'm the director of Image of an Unknown Young Woman at GSA, and it's part of the spring rep season alongside Hamlet and Red Velvet. So Image is all about a girl that gets shot at a protest and how that shooting kind of affects loads of different people's lives, from the person who witnesses the shooting to people who want to protest and make change. And the show kind of touches on all things about like protest, and it's obviously really relevant now, and about sort of standing up for your rights and what you would do if something matters enough to you. There's a lot of questions about morals and what you would do if you thought something mattered enough, and about fake news, and about, I guess, government control and press control over things that are happening in the world now. So the set design, Elliot Squire, who designed it, it's a beautiful set, but we had to make sure that it was really COVID friendly and COVID safe. So we have these blocks that kind of represent loads of different places in this world that we've created, because we go to people's houses, restaurants, cafes, like a bus stop. But within that, we had to make sure that obviously only one actor is touching the block once. And so then we had to, so there's a drama game where sometimes you put something in the middle of a room and it's like, what can that thing be in loads of different, so it could be like an umbrella, or it could be like a spinning top or whatever. And so we kind of had to play that game, I guess, in rehearsals of like, what can this block now represent? So we have one actor called Toby, and his block is a bus stop, it's a politician's stand, it's something that he protests from, he ties ribbons to it. So we just had to make sure that it was really safe, in the sense that in his block he has all his personal props and nobody else touches them, and nobody else touches his block. So we really had to think. It was really nice. It was kind of like, you know, if you gave a child a cardboard box, how do they play with a cardboard box? They create all these different worlds. And so it was nice to go back, I guess, to that playfulness that we have. So, I mean, it's affected the rehearsal process in some ways, in the sense that you have to wear masks, and obviously you have to be 2 meters apart, and people can only touch things, nobody else can touch something, and obviously with blocking of the show, I guess, I'm not really a director of blocks, but as that outside eye on the students, I have to make sure that they're safe in that space and make sure that they're not too close together. The show is very physical. Like, we have ABC characters, and they're the ensemble, and they create all these different characters, and within that there's different moments where there's fights and there's protests, and so it's instant you think lots of people and touching, right? That's what you think about a crowd. But we had to find, how do we create that world without loads of people and without people touching, and fights, for example, was really interesting, taking away actually the physicality of that, of like actually being able to touch someone. How do we then portray that without touching, and how do we do that vocally, and how do we create that atmosphere of, well, if we could, in reality, that person would punch that person. How do we get to that sort of like peak of emotion and physicality without doing it? So it's been really interesting to play around with that kind of thing in the room, for sure. So the show streams on the 16th of March and the 18th of March. The 16th at 2:30 and the 18th at 7:30, and you can book tickets via the GSA website.